I ran into my secret husband at a bar. I had my little brother in tow. He was holding hands with his first love. 10 minutes earlier we each texted the other our alibis. He said he had a board meeting. I said I was working late. In front of everyone we pretended we never met. Polite, friendly handshakes and cordial smiles. But the moment we walked through our front door that night, he shoved me against the wall, voice low and dangerous. Quite the game you're playing, wife. When I first spotted Hansi at the club, I spun on my heel to leave, only for my idiot friend to yank me back and tow me straight up to him, beaming like a court eunuch. This is the friend I told you about, Mr. Han. Hansi, president of Xinghua. And this, he turned to me, is Cheng Ziqin, chief designer at Xingyi. Top talent, I swear. He gave an enthusiastic thumbs up. Mr. Han, if you ever need design work, she's your girl. Old Cheng here's got more awards than we've got drinks on the table. He was still babbling when my eyes locked with Hansi's. Hansi had one arm around Song Weilan, but his gaze was fixed on the hand I was holding, Song Shiyu's hand. A flicker of surprise, then a lazy, amused smile. I've heard so much about you. He offered his hand. Designers come to bars now? I'd have thought someone as busy as you would still be chained to a drafting table. The bastard squeezed until my bones ground together. I forced a smile, and I'd have thought a man of your stature would still be stuck in a boardroom. Our eyes clashed. Something dangerous flashed in his. Then we let go in perfect unison and looked away. Everyone in the booth belonged to the same loose circle, but since Hansi and I had kept our marriage secret, parents only, no friends, no one knew. People kept trying to set us up. A tipsy friend raised a glass. This right here is our Mr. Han's first love. Who knew our prince was such a romantic? Ever since Weilan left 7 years ago, he stayed single, pining like crazy. Diamond bachelor. Hordes of girls threw themselves at him, and he never took the bait. Just like Lady Wang, waiting by the cold kiln. The moment she's back, they pick up right where they left off. Mark my words, wedding invitations soon. Under the swirling lights, Song Weilan leaned into Hansi, eyes fixed on me, the corner of her mouth curling in a victor's sneer. People really do forget fast. There were nights I couldn't sleep, heart clenched so tight I forgot how to breathe, tears run dry. I thought I'd never crawl out. Now the memories feel foreign, wrapped in scar tissue. No more pain. Only Hansi and I had never appeared together before. They assumed we were strangers. Someone clapped me on the shoulder. Our old Ching S. Single 2 never found the right one. Only just got herself a little boyfriend. Finally settling down. First time I've seen her serious. Bet we'll be drinking wedding wine soon, huh? Beside me, Song Shiyu laughed and tightened his fingers through mine. 3 more months and I'm legal. In the bar's hazy glow he still looked all boyish defiance. Straight brows, stubborn jaw, but those eyes were pure loyal puppy. Once he locked on you, he didn't budge. My heart skipped. The way we met was pure accident. I just won an award and was invited back to my alma mater to lecture. Song Shiyu wasn't even in design. He'd come for the extra credit points. When the talk ended he was first to bolt up and block my path. I figured some freshman wanted career advice and paused politely. Instead he stared as if I were a T-bone steak. Senior, can I have your WeChat? I blinked. Song Shiyu looks nothing like Hansi, both handsome, but in utterly different ways. Yet for a second I saw Hansi at 22 cocky grin. Hey, Junior, can I get your number? I pulled out my phone and let him scan my code. Later he told me the moment he saw me, Cupid fired an Italian cannon straight into his heart. 2 hours of lecture. He hadn't heard a word, just watched me. I didn't lie to him. I said I was married. He moped for a week then came back. As long as you divorce him before I'm legal age, I'll forgive you. He scuffed his shoe like a scolded retriever with drooping ears. 1 year and 3 months. By then Han Si and I had already detonated because I found out he'd flown abroad to spend Song Weilan's birthday with her. I'd always known their story. We all attended the same high school. They'd been each other's first loves. Perfect match, the kind of teenage romance that set the hallways on fire. I'd just been one of the crowd who crushed on Han Si, utterly unremarkable. From 16 to 22 they dated 7 years. When university ended, pride and tempers exploded. Song Weilan stormed off to Europe. Hansi didn't chase over. Afterwards he asked for my WeChat. I'd sit in the bleachers watching him play ball. Funny, later I realized he'd picked me only because he was hollow after she left. Everything followed a neat script: wounded heart, family pressure, and a convenient bride who looked good on paper. Me, I never knew, just loved him, stupidly thinking it was fate. I shook my head and laughed at myself. How dense. Hansi narrowed his eyes, long fingers spinning his glass, lips curling. Miss Chung, still unmarried at your age? Or are you sneaking out with toy boys behind your husband's back? In the noisy crowd he was impossible to miss. Tall, carved features, black shirt stretched over muscle, girls stealing glances every 3 seconds. I sipped my drink. Surprises me too, Mr. Han. Still single at yours. Hiding a wife somewhere while you whine your first love. The bar went a little quiet. No one understood why we were suddenly sparring. After a beat we both snorted and looked away. The rest of the night blurred. Han Si flirted outrageously with Song Weilon. At one point he pinched her chin and fed her a mouthful of whiskey in a deep kiss, then raised an eyebrow at me. Everyone hooped. Once that would VE killed me. Now I even managed a smile and joined the cheer. Encore. Hansi's face darkened. Old Chung, your turn. Only you two brought dates tonight. Drunk friends shoved shot glasses into our hands, winking. Let's see the kids' kissing skills. Song Shiyu's family is just as loaded as Hansi's, but he'd grown up with his grandparents away from this circus. According to him, I'm his first love. His ears turned scarlet. Hansi's smile slipped. His knuckles went white around his glass. Unlike Hansi, I don't perform in public. I waved it off. Then Song Shiyu leaned in. Eyes glossy, he locked an arm around my waist. Sis. The boy who usually looked like an overgrown puppy suddenly had an edge. His gaze dropped to my lips, voice a soft rasp. Sis, bewitch me. I finally understood what men mean by pure yet seductive. Usually he's all lanky limbs and sis this, sis that, but now the flush on his cheekbones, the heat in his eyes. I swallowed. Words dried up, a breath away from kissing. Hansi shot to his feet so hard the table rattled, glasses smashing. Everyone jumped. I instinctively stepped back. Song Shiyu chuckled, hand cupping my nape, and pulled me in. A kiss tasting of malt and smoke, soft, deliberate. Back home, I flicked on the lights to find Hansi on the sofa, face like thunder. He'd been glowering since the second half of the night. I ignored him, kicked off my shoes, headed for the shower. Working late at the bar, impressive, he drawled. I shrugged. You held your board meeting at a club? Pot kettle. He hadn't taken a single drag of the cigarette between his fingers. The ash grew precariously long. Chung Zichin, bravo. Bringing a school kid to a nightclub, new low. I turned, frowning. We agreed, don't ask, don't tell. Since when do you care? Jealous. Jealous. He stabbed the cigarette out. Don't flatter yourself. Just reminding you, boys still on formula aren't reliable. I rolled my eyes. Right, and you're the poster child for reliability. I walked into the bathroom and started the shower. Water had just begun to steam when the door burst open. Before I could yelp, a scalding body pressed against my back. That kid, can he even make you feel anything? His breath was hot in the steam, voice gravel. Z. I stomped on his instep. Hansi yelped, hopping back. Chung Zichin, have you lost your damn mind? I wrapped a towel around myself. Get out. Hansi's face darkened by the second, the fury in his eyes barely caged. He stepped forward, seized my arm and snarled. Chung Zichin, we're still fucking married. This is your duty as my wife. He was naked to the waist. Every muscle stood out. I froze, water beating on my skin, the scene in front of me blurring into the photo Song Weilon had sent me. Her birthday, me alone on a hospital bed, our baby gone, while Hansi lay in Song Weilon's bed, stripped bare, his back a map of fresh scratches. She hadn't typed a word. The picture itself was a slap that rang in my ears until all I heard was white noise. I bit my lip until I tasted blood, swallowed the bile, and pointed at the door. Get out. Last warning. Hansi stared at me for a long time. I watched the veins leap in his clenched forearms. Then his face went blank. He slammed the door so hard the frame shuddered. I closed my eyes. The warm water streamed over me, but it couldn't reach the cold that had settled in my bones. I realized Hansi had never stopped loving Song Weilon 3 years into our marriage. Back then we were fine. He came home after work, remembered anniversaries, bought expensive gifts. Sometimes we even fell asleep holding each other like a real couple. One night, while we were making love, a drop of his sweat slid onto my collarbone and he whispered, Weilon. It was like finding the first cockroach. If one skitters across the floor, 1,000 are hiding in the walls. The evidence piled up. WeChat messages he refused to delete, a photo worn soft at the edges, an alternate account he used to watch her life. I turned into a madwoman, screaming, begging, cursing, even clawing at him. Nothing worked. In the end, he only said coldly, "If you can't stand it, divorce me." That was when I understood. The previous years had been nothing but my own delusion. Hansi had never loved me. His heart had always belonged to someone else. No matter how many years I stayed, I could never beat the 7 he'd spent with Song Wei-lan. I imprisoned myself in that pain. The memories were vipers that woke at midnight to bite my heart again and again. Then he flew to England for her birthday. I spent the whole night staring out of a hospital window. I still remember the moon, round, bright, mercilessly cold. That night I told myself, I surrender, I quit. Hansi's mother disliked Song Wei-lan, old grudges between the families. She liked me, doted on me, scolded her son on my behalf more than once. A year ago she was diagnosed terminal, maybe 2 years if she was lucky. Hansi didn't want to upset her, so we agreed to wait until she passed to divorce. In exchange, he'd give me 7% of the company. I accepted. From that day on, we played our separate games. He didn't come home for a week. On his mother's birthday, we shared a car up the mountain. Act convincing, he warned, one hand on the wheel. Tell your little cat or puppy not to call. If mother finds out, kiss your 7% goodbye. I sneered. Worry about yourself. Halfway up the mountain, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, answered instantly. I turned away. Years ago, I used to call him like that, newlywed, unable to help myself. He rarely picked up. When he did, he scolded me for being childish, for not understanding how busy he was. I was foolish enough to believe him. Only later did I realize, busy people always have time for what matters. The unimportant can be idle and still be ignored. Whatever the caller said, Hansi stamped the brakes so hard I nearly kissed the windshield. I've got an emergency. Get out. You're insane. We're on a mountain. At least drive me to the gate. Wei-lan needs me. Out now. The seat rose automatically. He shoved me, high heels and all, onto the gravel, almost twisting my ankle. Before I could curse, the sports car roared off in a cloud of dust. Hansi, you bastard. I hopped furiously, but even the taillights vanished. I pulled out my phone. No signal. Left with no choice, I started walking uphill in my stilettos. Mrs. Han had never treated me as anything less than a daughter. I couldn't abandon her birthday. The slope was steep. Soon, my heels were shredded. I kicked the shoes off and kept going. By the time the villa gate appeared, the blood blisters on my soles had burst. Blood and rainwater ran pink down my ankles. Just then my phone buzzed. A friend who worked in the hospital, one of the few who knew the truth about Hansi and me. Zichin. I just saw Hansi take a woman into OBGYN. A photo followed. Hospital corridor. Hansi supporting Song Wei-lan, face full of tender worry. I stared until a raindrop splattered the screen. More followed. Within seconds I was drenched. There was no way back down, so I limped upward, wind knifing through wet clothes. The cold dragged me back to the night I lost our child. In senior year evening self-study, I'd stumbled on a gang beating a boy in our school uniform. I called the police, but while we waited the thugs turned fiercer. This is going to kill him. Without thinking I rushed in. 2 of them pulled baseball bats. One swung straight at the boy's head. I threw myself between them. The bat slammed into my abdomen. Pain exploded. I doubled up. They kept hitting. I clutched the boy's hand, wheezing. It's okay, police are coming. Then everything went black. I woke in hospital, surgery for internal bleeding. My parents moved me home. I lost half a year of school. I nearly forgot the incident until my first prenatal checkup. Your uterine wall is very thin, high risk of miscarriage. Be careful. I guarded that pregnancy like treasure, convinced the baby could save our marriage. Then one day I spotted blood. Hansi said he had a board meeting. The next evening, lying in a hospital bed, I received Song Wei-lan's photo. No meeting, just her birthday. The ward window was smeared. The moon glared, white and cruel. A dragging pain spread from my chest to my gut. Heat pulsed between my thighs. I lifted the blanket, sheets scarlet. That night Hansi slept in Song Wei-lan's arms while I lost our child alone. I rang the villa bell. The housekeeper gasped, Miss Chung-yor, I'll shower first. I didn't want Mrs. Han to see me like this. She had too few days left. Clean and changed, I slipped into her room. The woman who had once been so elegant was now a bundle of sticks under gray sheets. The door creaked. Her eyes fluttered open, shining at the sight of me. Zichin, you came. I took her hand. Mom, you look better today, more color. She coughed, a fragile smile. Not many left. I rambled about light, silly things until words ran out and quiet settled. Mrs. Han leaned back against her pillows. The room fell into a heavy hush. I patted her hand. Mom, you rest. I'll come again soon. As I rose to leave, she suddenly called after me. Zichin, divorce Hansi. I froze. What? He's hurt you again, hasn't he? No. I forced a smile. Mom, don't. Zichin, your eyes have stopped smiling. She pointed to her own mouth. Your lips smile, then to her eyes. But not here. You're unhappy. Each word cost her a breath, yet she pressed on. Don't stay because of me. You're still young. She managed a gentle curve of the lips. Divorce him. Live your own life. For no reason at all. My vision blurred. Hot tears dropped straight onto the quilt. Mrs. Han stroked my hand. Good child, don't waste another day for an old woman. She reached into the bedside drawer with effort and pulled out a file. My company shares 13%. Hansi has wronged you all these years. Let this be his mother's apology. Take it. She pressed the folder into my hand. Tears kept coming, no matter how I wiped them away. She smoothed my hair, the way mothers do. Stop letting yourself be wronged. That night I didn't go home. I drove straight to Song Shiyu's place. He lit up when he saw me, then frowned the instant his hand touched mine. You're burning up. I pressed a palm to my forehead. Fever. He carried me to bed, tucked the quilt around me, disappeared for a moment, and returned with steaming ginger tea. No reproach, only soft questions. Drink something hot. Sweat it out. He curled himself around me like a human burrito. You'll catch it, I mumbled. He pressed a kiss to my ear. I don't care. He opened an audiobook. Bored. What story? Snow White. One arm around me, phone in the other, he began. Once upon a time there was a princess, white as snow. The princess coughed up the poisoned apple and married the prince. I thought the tale was done, but Song Shiyu kept going. After the wedding, the princess discovered the prince was a chronic cheater who treated her badly, so she stuffed the poisoned apple into his mouth, killed him, and ran off with a younger, richer, handsomer prince who adored her, and they lived happily ever after. I burst out laughing, then coughing. Where did you learn that version? He only patted my back gently. Outside, wind teased the pale curtains. The scent of gardenias drifted in. Occasional cars hushed past. His embrace was warm, the feeling foreign and exquisite, as if I were something precious. Turns out being cherished is like this. Just before sleep, I heard a whisper against my hair. Hurry up and get divorced. I can't wait much longer. The next morning I went home early. Mrs. Han was right. I wouldn't wrong myself any longer. Hansi was on the sofa. When he saw me, he frowned automatically. Where were you last night? You didn't answer. I'd spent the night at Song Shiyu's. The phone had been on silent. 3 missed calls. Hansi. I shrugged. None of your business. His eyes darkened. Song Weilan wasn't feeling well. Her health has always been fragile. I'm not interested. I slipped into slippers. I used to need every detail of his life. Now I couldn't even be bothered to listen. I'm here for a divorce. I tossed the papers onto the coffee table. Your mother already knows. She transferred her shares to me. Keep your 7%. I want 2/3 of the rest, or I'll file in court. With the photos Song Weilan sent me, Hansi stared. Years ago, after I lost the baby, I'd confronted him, hysterical, waving those photos. Say something, that was your child too. He'd only stood there while I clawed his shirt. She didn't mean harm. Weilan didn't know you'd miscarry. The wind had rattled the windows like surf. I'd finally let go. Fine, I understand. I kept those photos to remind myself. Every time I looked, the love I had for him shrank, until nothing remained. We agreed to wait, he said, stubbing out a cigarette, eager to shack up with that milk-fed boy. He laughed, coldly. I am a man I know. Men. Right now he is just young and stupid. When yes, 30 you'll be pushing 40. Do you really think he'll still want you? He shook his head in mock pity. Still so naive, Zichin. I studied the man I'd once walked toward with joy, now only ugly. Better than marrying someone whose heart is elsewhere and grabbing whoever's handy. I stepped closer. People's lives aren't disposable scenery for your epic love story. I curled my lip. Does anyone outside call Song Weilan a home-wrecking mistress? Hansi shot to his feet. Watch your mouth. You two have done far worse than anything I could say. I held out a pen. Sign. Then we're done. Tomorrow at 9, Civil Affairs Bureau. Don't be late. His eyes were ice, but after a long moment he scrawled his name, flung the papers at me. There. Don't you dare regret it, Cheng Zichin. I simply nodded. See you tomorrow. The last day of my marriage began with relief. I couldn't wait to tell Song Shiyu. He was ecstatic. For real? I'll go get my household register right now. I talked him down. We'd meet the parents first, then the registry. That afternoon we attended a mutual friend's wedding. Hansi and I arrived in separate cars, yet fate seated us at the same table. I ignored him. He lifted a piece of seafood onto Song Weilan's plate, voice affectionate. Eat more. His eyes flicked to me. Song Weilan stiffened. Actually, I don't eat seafood. Friends rushed to smooth the awkwardness. Old Han and Weilon meant to be since high school. When's the wedding? Hansi stayed silent. Song Weilon tucked hair behind her ear, smiling at me. Soon. Everyone must come. Another friend chimed in. I remember. Hansi fought some gangsters and Weilon saved him back then. You owe her forever, man. Song Weilon's smile froze. Ancient history, drop it. Hansi countered softly. It started because of that. Her face turned ashen. I raised an eyebrow. I hadn't known this slice of their past, and didn't care. Then my friend beside me laughed. Funny coincidence, Sichin once rescued a boy too. 5 or 6 guys with bats. She took a blow meant for him, and called the cops. She even had to repeat a year after surgery. She leaned in. The ungrateful jerk never even said thank you. She caught my eye and stopped. I shrugged. Long ago, I didn't do it for gratitude. Hansi's face drained of color. He shot to his feet, knocking over glasses and plates. Red wine soaked his trousers, but he didn't notice. What did you say? Song Weilon grabbed his arm, panicked. Your pants, let's go change. He flung her off, voice shaking. Chung Zichin, which day did you save that boy? I frowned. Everyone was staring. Summer 2014. August maybe. Sit down, it's their wedding. Hansi's expression twisted between disbelief and horror. What did you tell him at the end? The pain had engraved every second in my mind. I think I said, don't be afraid, the police are here. Hansi collapsed into his chair as if all the air had left him, hands clamped over his face. Song Weilon stood white-lipped, trembling. Even the slowest guest now understood. I lifted my brows. So the idiot I saved was you? I smiled sweetly. Pity. Had I known, I'd have let them finish the job. I left the banquet. The rest arrived by text that night. Turns out after that beating, Hansi searched everywhere for the girl who saved him. Song Weilon was there. She took your place. You never knew. She sent a video. Song Weilon on her knees, mascara streaking. Yes, elite. But are the years we shared nothing? You said you loved only me. Just because she saved you doesn't mean you can suddenly love her. Hansi's voice was sub-zero. This isn't over, Song Weilon. According to my friend, her father had an illegitimate son. The inheritance would go to the boy. Song Weilon came back to anchor herself to Hansi, only for him to freeze her cards, repossess the villa and cars, and promise that the reckoning had just begun. I put my phone down. My heart wasn't as calm as I pretended. It's all a mess, I thought. Hansi fell for Song Weilon because she stole my place, then let her destroy me. In this 3-person tragedy, I was the only one left in ruins. Do I hate him? I asked myself. Because of him I have a lifelong illness. Because of him I lost my baby. How could I not hate? If I could travel back to that night 10 years ago, I would walk straight past the alley and let him die. Hansi came home very late, reeking of alcohol, barely able to stand. I reminded him, we have to be at the bureau tomorrow. Don't forget. He ignored me, slumped on the sofa, words slurred. I've cut off Song Weilon. I've recalled every cent I invested in the Song family. They'll be finished soon. She has nothing left. She caused you to lose the baby. Are you satisfied now? I laughed coldly. And you? I saved you that night. The blow to my womb made every pregnancy high risk. I called you while I was bleeding out, but you were in another woman's bed. You caused the miscarriage. Shouldn't you be the one who deserves to die? He was speechless. Then, to my shock, he dropped to his knees in front of me. Before I could step back, he lifted a hand and slapped himself hard. The crack split the room. Blood beaded at the corner of his mouth. What are you doing? He lifted his face, eyes pleading. I know I'm wrong. Hit me, scold me, anything. I'll compensate you. I'll transfer all 42% of my shares to you. Just forgive me. He bowed until his forehead touched the floor, shoulders shaking. The only sound was a broken, animal-like sob. I stayed silent. Back then my parents had wanted to press charges, but the thugs were later found maimed, 3 with severed Achilles tendons, all driven insane. My parents dropped the case, afraid the proceedings would scar me further, so I never saw the boy I'd saved. Song Weilon was right. If she hadn't lied, would Hansi have loved me instead? Probably not. The ending would have been the same. Spare the speeches, I said. Sign the divorce. That's the only repayment I want. If you feel guilty, you can throw in the money too. No. He crawled closer, frantic. I won't divorce. I'll make it up to you. I swear I'll never touch another woman. I've cut Song Weilon off completely. Perhaps the alcohol loosened his tongue. Tears streamed down his usually arrogant face. I actually love you, but I felt indebted to Weilon, so I gave her everything. When you said divorce, my first reaction was refusal. I've loved you for a long. I slapped him across the face. Don't insult the word love. You disgust me. I wish you had died in that alley. I grabbed the divorce papers and slammed the door. The next morning, Hansi stood me up. No show at the bureau. He called non-stop. He would compensate, but divorce was impossible. I was livid. He'd already stolen years of my life. Now, when freedom was in sight, he wanted to chain me again. Since he played dirty, so would I. I sold the 13% Mrs. Han had given me to the company's second largest shareholder. With his existing 32%, he now held 45%, more than Hansi, and ousted him as chairman. Hansi's life's work slipped through his fingers. That evening he rang, voice small. Ziqing, do you hate me that much? Yes. I'm done with you. Silence. Then softly, do whatever makes you happy. I've already failed you once. I can't fail you again. I filed for divorce, submitting proof of his affair. 2 court hearings and he'd be free, whether he liked it or not. While I was buried in paperwork, the call came at 3 a.m. Ziqing, come quickly. Mom's fading. I arrived to find Mrs. Han barely conscious, skin ashen. Guilt stabbed me. She had given me those shares and I'd sold them to her son's rival. She beckoned weakly. I knelt, eyes brimming. She didn't reproach me, only patted Hansi's bowed head. Everyone has their day. Asi, don't grieve. She struggled for breath. I hear you refused the divorce. Hansi wiped his face. Mom, Weilon tricked me. Now I know Ziqing saved me. I can't lose her again. Emaris Hansai. That child loved you from the start. After marriage she waited and waited while you fooled around. Now you know she was your savior. Her eyes closed. Hansi panicked. Mom, stay with me. She opened them once more, summoning the last of her strength. My last wish, promise me. Hansi nodded wildly. Anything. Let Ziqing go. She's unhappy. You two have no fate. Don't ruin her life. She's a good girl. Hansi collapsed against the bed, arms corded, nails digging into his palms until they bled. Finally he covered his face and let out a ragged sob. All right, Mom, I promise. I'll divorce her. Mrs. Han's hand slipped from his and fell still. After the funeral, we met at the bureau. Hansi was gaunt, shirt flapping in the wind. At the threshold he clutched the papers. Must we? You loved me so much. Now I know everything. Can't we start over? I watched clouds drift across the sky. Hansi, do you love me or Song Weilon? Or the phantom who saved you? If Weilon hadn't lied, wouldn't you have fallen for her anyway? He blurted. Of course not. I smiled sadly. It doesn't matter anymore. If you still remember one good thing I did, let me go. I truly don't love you anymore. Wind whipped his hair across his eyes. They seemed wet. At last he forced a crooked smile. All right, I let you go. His voice cracked on every word. The house, the cars, every share, every cent yours. I walk away clean. He pulled out a new agreement. Every asset he owned, signed over to me. I read it, stunned, then signed without hesitation. He had cost me everything. This was the least I was owed. The divorce took minutes. We stepped outside with little green booklets in hand. I raised a hand. Goodbye. He looked as if he wanted to speak, but I was already in the taxi. In the rearview mirror he remained on the curb, unmoving, lips shaping silent words I could no longer hear. Traffic soon swallowed him. I closed my eyes. Tears blurred the edges of the world. Wolvier, Ansi, may we never meet again.